right, guys. Does anybody want to know how to get from here, where you are right now, to there?
Yes.
Do you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. The first thing that I want you to do is I want you to write down what is your there. And I'm not talking about your whole life. I'm talking about what is your very next there. It could be your promotional level. It could be your level of income. It could be how many agents that you might want on your team. What is it that you want? Ashley's told us in our goal planning for the year, what is that number one win for you for 2026? That should be your there that you write down. Write in big letters. And I want to take you back while y'all are thinking. I want to take you back to 1998. How many of you were not even born yet? Who didn't exist in 1990? Are you kidding me? It's like a fourth of the room. That's crazy. Well, guess what? I was in 8th grade already. Y'all didn't even exist, and I was in 8th grade in 1998. I want y'all to imagine, however old you are, it doesn't matter, but when you were in 8th grade, okay, just go back in your mind. Remember the person that you were in 8th grade. That's a tough time in your life for everybody, isn't it? You don't even want to, you don't even want to remember it, right? So much drama back then. All the teenagers, right? The hormones. And at the lunch table with the group of friends that I sat with every day, while other girls were gossiping about other girls, flirting with boys, just, being teenage girls, there was this one girl who was writing her high school valedictorian speech. Okay, just imagine that, okay? You're at lunch in 8th grade, and you're with your friends, and you're just hanging out, eating. But there's this one girl at the table named Kelly McManus, and she was writing her high school valedictorian speech. That was 4 years into the future. She was writing her speech. Now remember 8th grade you, how would you have received that? What would you have done? If that was being done right in front of you, would you have thought, oh, who does she think she is? Probably, right? I did. How many of you would have probably rolled your eyes? Thought she was weird?
Yeah.
Probably, right?
Yeah.
Anybody would think that, or would any of you think that she was inspiring? Now, 8th grade you. None of us, right? Okay. So how does that hit you? How does that hit you? Is it weird to you now? Is it inspiring to you now? Do you think, who does she think she who does she think she is? Because there's a lot of that goes on even in our adult lives, especially in our adult lives, I would say, right? When we're looking at somebody else and judging them and going, who does she think she is? That's probably why you're still here and not there. One of the reasons, anyway. That memory haunts me. I remember it so vividly, and it's come back up in my mind here and there over the years. I never really understood that until many years actually into this business, and it just keeps resurfacing in my memory. I'm not really sure how to use this thing, but I just want you to, on your paper, I want you to write the word here and write the word there. Okay, here, there, draw a line in between. So draw this out in your notes. You already wrote what your there is, your current there. You can't see ahead for your whole life, so you wrote down your next big goal you're going after. And I challenge you, just like Kelly did at our lunch table in 8th grade, if you wrote AG2, if you wrote AG1, if you wrote sales manager, go ahead and write that speech for yourself. Write that speech. If you're an SM2, write your SM1 speech. What are some things here in the in-between, here and there, that hold us back from getting there? I mean, you can just shout them out. What are some things that hold us back from getting there?
Self-sabotage.
Self-sabotage, what else?
Not being consistent.
Inconsistency. What else? Excuses, that's really good. Yeah, absolutely. How are you feeling in the in-between stage? What are some feelings? What are some emotions you're experiencing? How are you feeling, Monica?
I feel really sad that I didn't hit sales manager.
Sad? Disappointed?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Any other emotions? Maybe angry? Maybe bitter? Resentful? I want you to get a visual in your mind. Rather than seeing yourself running from here to there, I want you to imagine you have a lasso and you're lassoing there with a rope and you're pulling it closer to you. You're shrinking the distance and you're shrinking the time it takes to get there. Do y'all want to know how to do that? Okay. There's three main things that I have in my notes. This is just what I've learned. And there's probably many more. But clarity is number one. Write down clarity. The clearer the target, the shorter the journey becomes. You have to get very, very, very clear on what it is that you want. That's why I had you start with writing down what your there is. What is that win for you? Without clarity, you're not going to be sure of what your goal even is. Without clarity, you're going to resent and you're going to recycle your past versus learning from it and even appreciating it. Without clarity, you don't know who you are or who you're becoming. In the field, when it comes to closing, don't we say a confused mind says no, a clear mind says go? Okay. We need Ms. Johnson to be clear so that we can close her, right? So how do we provide that clarity? We use visuals. What else, Brady? How else can we provide clarity for Ms. Johnson?
Education. Credibility.
Yeah, clearly communicating expectations. Here's what's going to happen next, Miss Betty. Here's when you can expect your policy to come in the mail. Here's what I'm going to do for you as your benefits coordinator going forward from here. As coaches, tactical daily coaching is how we provide clarity for our new agents along with systems. And again, clearly communicating expectations as well of our team members. What things do you need to streamline and how can you simplify your systems when it comes to clarity? Because winging your day, winging your training, winging your schedule, etc., only muddies up your path. You can't have clarity if you wing this, right? And it actually causes you to work extra and to work harder and work later when what you were actually trying to avoid in the first place was the work. Because that's exactly what you're doing. If you're winging it, you're avoiding the work. When it comes to clarity too, I've been teaching my team a lot this lately. Seek to understand. Seek to understand. We're so quick to assume things. We're so quick to judge somebody and judge a situation, and we have this much information to go on.
Let's go.
Right? And what you're doing is you're filtering the very little bit you know through your past experiences, through the way that you communicate, through your hurts, through all these different things, and you're probably wrong. So seek understanding. How do you do that? You ask questions. Did you really mean what you said when you said this to me? Can I ask you about the situation? Because you don't want to jump to conclusions. I want to ask you this too, before we go to point number 2. Does your goal align with your priorities? Those are two different things. Goals and priorities. You might think that your goal is a priority, but are you acting like it is? Or does something keep standing in the way of you getting there? Whatever is standing in your way of getting there, what you say your goal is, that's your priority. So maybe you need to change your goal. We're not going to change our priorities. Our priorities are our priorities, aren't they? So you might just be in this vicious cycle of frustration because your priorities are at war with your goals. So change the goal. Don't wait until there. And they've said this a couple of other times today, and this is just maybe a little bit redundant, but it definitely bears repeating, is don't wait until there to start thinking like you should here. You start thinking here and now how you must to make there your reality. So that brings me to point number 2, urgency. What's the 4-letter acronym we teach of the components needed to close a sale? Thank you. That was very quick. Love it. What's that stand for? That's right. Urgency. Without urgency, a potential client may think they have the luxury of time and not prioritize it, right? Without urgency, you may prolong building your team thinking you should just wait for later. Without urgency, you may delay a conversation you need to have with your coach. Without urgency, you tell your goal, eventually, maybe, one day, I'll get there. When you have urgency, you don't wait until you feel confident. You just start, and the confidence builds over time from repetition. So how can you create more urgency in the field? Any ideas? How can you create more urgency in the field? Y'all know this. Come on, Debbie. You got something?
2 by 2.
Okay,
Let's
thank
go.
you. Great job, Dylan. Yeah, 2 presentations by 2 o'clock, 3 by 3, 4 by 4. Volume and velocity. We're like this, right?
2 by 2.
Leaders, how can you create more urgency in your team? Leaders, how can you create more urgency in your team and your team building? Just some things to think about. So urgency, we got clarity, we got urgency, and then the third point is emotional regulation. Y'all, let me tell you right now, that's been one of the biggest wastes of my time is emotional irregulation. Okay? I know y'all can relate. You know, even with clarity, even with urgency, if you are dramatic as all get out about everything and you love conflict and you just eat up the drama and the gossip and all these things, the negativity, you're just going to spin in circles. Without emotional regulation, you'll sit in your setback and the recovery process will take so much longer. Without emotional regulation, resentment and bitterness can seep in and take root. Without emotional regulation, others may dodge you or even shun you because you just are kind of a burden. You're a drag to be around. Without emotional regulation, you give more power to your feelings than what you say you want. So how can we remain emotionally regulated in the field? Yeah? Do you get real mad when you get a door slammed in your face? Hope not. Have you ever argued with a senior when they've said, oh, life insurance, I don't believe in it? I have. When I was young in the business, I did. Yeah. How can we remain emotionally regulated with our teams? Leaders in the room? Are you passive aggressive and overly dramatic about everything? How can we remain emotionally regulated with our existing clients? What about when they call to cancel? Or one of those insufficient funds notifications, right? Yeah. So yeah, there are lessons that you have to learn. There's experience that you have to gain. There's even maybe some pain along the path from here to there. But if you will just be diligent to do the things that we talked about, you'll lessen your time stuck in the in-between, repeating the same lessons over and over and over. Y'all ever feel that way? Like you're just like spinning, right? So I gave you 3 things to reduce your time in the in-between here and there. But there's one main thing that separates those who make it to there and those who don't, and those who take far longer to. Remember my story earlier about Kelly, 8th grade, writing her valedictorian speech? She was telling herself who she'd become 4 years down the road. Not for admiration, not for show, not for popularity. She did it for only one reason. One reason. Because it was absolute necessity. It was absolute necessity to her. And that necessity warranted sacrificing time over lunch, socializing with her friends, being a typical teenage girl in the 8th grade. it was worth it because it was necessary. She had to. She had to. It was so necessary she had to write it out. It was so necessary that she felt a sense of urgency to start her speech in the 8th grade, 4 years prior to graduation. It was so necessary that she didn't care what other people thought about her or what they said. It was so necessary that she didn't make any excuses. And it was so necessary that she did everything at a high level to ensure she'd achieve the goal to become the valedictorian of our graduating class in 2002. Do you think she did it?
Yeah.
No, she didn't. Just kidding, she did. She did. So is success optional or is it necessary for you? You want to know how I know if it's optional? Because I've made it optional for a very long time. I'm coming into my 10th year. This is my 10th year with NASB. I will have been licensed September 16th for 10 years. And I realized why I'm not partner yet. And it's because I didn't make it necessary. I made it optional.
Come home.
And I know that's why many of you in this room, you look at that there that you wrote down, and that's exactly why you're not there yet too. Because you're not making it necessary. So therefore you're lacking the urgency. There is no urgency when you make something optional, is there? Think about just being in the field. If you really don't have to make $1,000 or $2,000 that day because you did yesterday, maybe you're slowing down your pace. You lack urgency. When there's no urgency, you're lengthening the time frame from here to there. You're taking your time to get there. When it's optional, excuses come easily because guess what? You have a plan B. You have a safety net. If you're making this optional, it's because you got a fallback plan. When it's necessary, there's no what if this doesn't work, but only it will. And it must, because I believe it is so. I say it is so, and I will act accordingly with clarity, urgency, and stability. And this is not success just for the sake of success, but for who you become and the process for who you take along with you. It's who you have to be for who's waiting in the wings that you haven't even met yet. You need to become that person for them. Because they're counting on you. Listen to this quote, and I'm wrapping it up. Every level of success demands a version of you that doesn't exist yet. And the in-between, here and there, is where that version is built. It's just a matter of how much accountability are you going to take to that? How much responsibility are you taking for that? How much responsibility are you taking for how long it takes you to get there? And it's taking you a long time because you don't have urgency, you don't have clarity, you don't have emotional regulation, you don't make it necessary, you make it an option. We didn't talk about skipping the middle at all, right? You got to go through it. But we talked about reducing the time in between. And if you skip the middle, or if you think you can skip the middle, you don't arrive at the there. It actually means you've quit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So are you a Kelly McManus in this business? Some are. Most aren't. What is that thing that you want more than anything? And why do you want it? Why? Focus on that there. Look at it every day. Write it over and over and over and over and over. Debbie, Monica, Christian, Laura, Alicia, Savannah, Michelle, Megan. Are you a Kelly McManus in this business? Get clear on it. Start now. Stay steady along the way to it and make it an absolute freaking necessity, because it is. Because the world needs you. You have an assignment on your life, and it's now, not later. That's all I got.
Oh, yay.